Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Bowhunt or Die. For those of you who missed us last week, don't worry, we're here, we're back in action, and we've got a great episode for you. You know what, we got the holiday season upon us. Next week, of course, is the big week, and you know what, for those of you who have not got the latest Bowhunt or Die stocking cap, it makes a great stocking stuffer, Justin.
Yeah, we've sold, 150 or so hats in the last couple of days, so thank you to everybody who purchased a hat. They are in the mail. Hopefully they'll show up before Christmas if that's why you guys ordered them. But Todd, we've got another great hunt lined up for this week. Who are we going to be seeing?
Well, we're going to be jumping in a tree here with Tom Alford. I know he's been putting a lot of miles on, and he finally has some success here in Northern Illinois. So let's take a look.
Well, good morning. It is the morning of November 13th, 2014. There's been a few does kind of hanging out in this area, so hopefully at one point one of these two are going to come into heat and hopefully drag a big buck with them, but it's starting to get light. I'm going to head to the stand. See you there.
Well, just made it into the stand. Got a nice little blanket of snow on everything. It's looking pretty good, so hopefully these deer want to come into some soybeans. I got a few little standing rows over here that the farmer left me. Not a lot, but just enough. Oh, yes! Oh, man. I don't love that shot, but holy cow, I love shooting a nice buck. Man, it has been a crazy year for me. I have seen, almost no deer. Oh, man. These two little fawns came out in this little strip of beans that we left. And sure enough, I hear something behind me. And I look, and it's this buck just shredding his tree. Oh, man. I can't believe I hit him right there, but you know what? It is what it is. He's laying right there. I hit him in that femoral artery. He's dead in 30 seconds. Oh, man. I tell you what, it feels good to shoot a nice buck. He's a nice 8-point.
All right, well, I just got down. I came back to the road Justin's actually coming down here to help me recover the buck, take a few hero shots, and load him up in the truck. So I came out here to the road. Justin should be coming down here pretty quick, and celebrating begins. Holy cow, is it freezing cold, but man, I think he's coming right down the road now. Here we go. All right, so partner in crime Justin just got here. He's running the camera for me. Obviously no track job on this one. I saw him go down. He's dead right here, but I'm gonna go get my hands on him. So here we go. Here he is. Not a monster. I didn't recognize this deer at first. I do now. I had like one picture of this deer earlier in the year. Not a giant rack, but a nice big body deer. 8-pointer. I'll take him. Good meat in the freezer. Probably a 2-year-old. Maybe a 3-year-old, who knows. I don't know. I don't pretty much make the decision as soon as I see him coming in. I saw him and I said shooter, and that was it. So didn't make the greatest shot ever. I actually got kind of lucky. Hit him back in that femoral artery, but that kill zone just absolutely tore him up. But it's pretty cool action this morning. He came in and just started ripping apart a tree. Had a couple fawns out here, and he headed out to investigate and gave him an arrow. So here he is. Bowhunt or die.
You know, Todd, here we are once again, I guess, you know, forced to deal with the realities of a poor shot. You know, Tommy didn't take a bad shot. I mean, the deer was in the wide open. He was quartering away. He was well within bow range. I mean, everything looked great. You know, the execution of that shot was just flawed. I mean, he was pretty far off from where he wanted to be, and he said it himself. He got lucky that he hit that artery and that deer expired as quickly as it did. You know, a couple inches in either direction, we may be singing a different story right now.
Right, and again, you know, one of the things we always talk about on the show is education, and keeping it real. We've always said that, and we've always wanted to be true to that. And I guess the reality is, I guess the time that Bowhunt or Die will end is when I can't truly sit here and talk about the reality and what actually happens when you're bow hunting. Okay, so it's all about education. So I think what's important here is, unfortunately, this isn't a deer chart we're getting ready to show you, but what's important to learn from this hunt is the femoral artery and ultimately what happens. So Justin, why don't you go ahead and we'll use this diagram. And,
yeah, well, I mean, so guys, we're looking at an elk here. You know, I'm sure a lot of you out there are familiar with, you know, the anatomy of the animals that we hunt. If you're not, please go out and familiarize yourself. But I mean, just like a deer, I mean, they've got this artery that runs basically along the spine and then comes down into the back leg. And as you guys saw, you know, both on Tommy's hunt now, as well as I think Dean's hunt and earlier this year was a very similar shot with very similar results. I mean, the deer did not go far before expiring. I mean, if you are lucky enough to hit that in the case that you make a bad shot,
right. And
that definitely can put them down quick.
Yeah, and let's just stress that again. We are not by any means telling you to go out and aim for the femoral artery. That's absolutely horrible. We would never recommend that at all. The point is if you bow hunt enough, a bad shot's going to happen, and what's important is the more knowledge that you have, the better likely are you're going to be able to recover that animal. So in this case here, you learn about the femoral artery if you weren't familiar with it, and you can see what happened in this case. Tommy got very lucky, found his deer very quickly. Matter of fact, didn't have to do any tracking at all. And you know what? I know Tommy. I've hunted with Tommy. He's a good guy. He made a poor shot. He recognizes that, but you know what? He did get a nice deer, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, you know, congrats to him. I mean, he hunted, you know, 60 plus days between Illinois and Wisconsin, you know, opening day Wisconsin through mid-November. And we're talking 2 months of hunting hard. And guys, it could be frustrating. I mean, I'm sure those of you out there who are feeling that pain of not seeing a lot of deer or not harvesting an animal, they know what it's like. So, I mean, you see that emotion come out of him after the hunt, and it's something that we've talked about a lot. You know, we never want guys to fake emotion. You know, he certainly wasn't happy about the shot, but he was sure happy that he was able to finally get a nice buck down. So congratulations to him. And next up, Todd, I think we're going to check in with you on your trophy doe quest.
Trying to still find a doe, so here we go.
Well guys, November 7th, I'm tagged out in Illinois, but it's time to do some doe management. I got my brand new Matthews no cam, got about 100 arrows through it so far. It's as solid as can be. I'm looking for a trophy doe tonight. Let's see what happens. Anything can happen on November 7th, that's what's fun. I'd love to see a big buck coming through here with a doe. That would be awesome. I was hoping to get a doe to come in here tonight, but 2 bucks came through. Definitely up on their feet moving though, that's for sure. Well guys, I've had 2 super nice bucks in here just in the last 15 minutes. I'm setting up my gear and they're coming in. I spooked a doe up over here. I think she was with a buck locked down. That's what brought those other 2 bucks in. So I'm looking for a trophy doe. That's what I'm looking for. I'm tagged out here in Illinois and I need to do some doe management. So I don't know. Hoping a doe moves through here, but with the way these bucks are pushing them around, it might be pretty tough. Well, my quest to shoot a trophy doe continues. I've hunted 4 times now. I haven't had a doe within 100 yards. I just keep having bucks come by. I got some turkeys over here. I would love for them to come this way, but usually when these come down off the roost here, they go that way. Well, still trying to find a trophy doe. Nothing as of yet. Bucks don't even seem to be moving this early in the morning right now either. Seems like these first couple hours in the morning are pretty dead. It's been raining and snowing like crazy. Things finally have gotten a little better out here now. Seems to have stopped. Hopefully these deer finally start to move now. Been looking for a trophy doe here for a while now with 0 success. We'll see if it finally changes.
Well, I suppose it's not a bad problem to have. Each time I'm going out to hunt, I see bucks and not does. But you know what? I'm going to get a doe before the end of the season. That's my goal. I'm sticking with it. And eventually, we're going to get cold weather, we're going to get snow, and that's my favorite time to shoot a late season deer, that's for sure, Justin. So
Yeah, well, only Todd would have the problem of
here we
trying to
go.
find a doe, and he can only find bucks. It's horrible, right? So, with Todd's hunt out of the way, we're going to check in with a cool hunt that I had. This is actually out of the same stand that Todd killed his second buck out of this year. I went in there a couple weeks ago in the morning, hoping for a little bit of Todd's buck luck to rub off on me.
Remember, don't forget, he said, I don't want to get Todd's help. I don't want to hunt any of Todd's stands. Just remember that. Don't
Well,
forget
you
that.
see what happens. Check out the hunt now.
All right, good morning. It's November 29th, Saturday morning. Back out here in Northwest Illinois. We're in the weekend in between the two firearms seasons, so we can bow hunt again in these counties. In any case, guys, I'm on a brand new farm. I've never hunted here before. I've actually only been to this farm once. Todd and I got permission to hunt here late in the summer. We came here actually in October and hung a stand together, and then Todd came back, hung this stand, and killed a 160-inch buck out of it. Nobody's been here since then, so I'm hoping there's been no pressure on these deer. It's been 4 weeks since Todd killed his buck. Nobody gun hunted this farm, so let's hope these bucks are still moving today. We're set up in a bedding area. Once they come back in off these food sources, we'll start seeing some action. So stick with me, guys, and we'll see what happens. Bow hunt or die. Go hunt my stand, Todd says. Perfect on a southwest wind, Todd says. Good job. Good recommendation, Graf. That was a pretty incredible hunt. It was literally deer running everywhere. I think someone drove into the farm and spooked all these deer up the hill. They must have been bedded down on that bottom. And I think I hit 12 or 13 deer within about 30 or 40 yards of me. I could not move. Luckily, none of the bucks were big enough to shoot, but after seeing all the does on this farm, I really wanted to shoot one, but I couldn't get drawn back. And then they spooked and left. Then something spooked them and they came back. And they were hauling butt that time, so I don't know. I saw 20 some odd deer in here today. No shooter bucks though, so I'm gonna pull out, grab lunch, and head over to the other farm. So I'll be back at it in a couple hours. Pretty crazy hunt, bow hunt or die.
Well, as you guys can see, I certainly had no problem getting a doe within bow range. I think I had 12 or 14 deer within probably 30 yards of me at one point in time, which, part of me, Todd, is glad there wasn't a big buck in that group because it's very difficult to move, film, and try to shoot something with a deer that close. I was going to shoot one of those does, and, it just wasn't perfect. So I figured, there's still some season left if I want to get a little bit more meat for the freezer. So I let him go. But all in all, pretty cool hunt.
Well, it's always better to be safe than sorry, that's for sure.
Yep.
And there's no question about it. When you're trying to film and you're trying to move, I mean, it's amazing when you get that many more eyeballs that are just honed into
Well,
what's
and
going
late
on.
season, snow on the ground, cold, man, it's hard to do.
There's no question about that. But next up, we've got some great new bows to show you. Now, listen, we don't have all the bows because obviously the show's only so long, but we've filmed a lot of new products. So make sure you check out our website where you can take a look at all the new products. Specifically, where would they go to see that stuff, Justin?
You can just go to the homepage of bowhunting.com right now, and you can actually click on one of the slides. It's the Matthews Retailer Show, and you can see all the videos, including this one that we shot. This one kind of highlights the brand new HTR with the no-cam technology. Hey guys, I'm Justin Czar with bowhunting.com, and I'm here with Mark Hayes from Matthews. And today we're taking a look at the brand new no-cam HTR. As a lot of people know, Mark, this bow has been out for about a month now, hit the public. Tell us a little bit about it. Obviously, we've got a brand new cam technology, which is kind of the main point of this bow.
Right, and that's our brand new technology, no-cam ST. And what that means is string track. So our string track, like no other bow ever, is perfectly concentric on our axle, meaning this wheel is centered on this axle.
Right.
We still have a take-up, we still have a cam on the take-up side, but our string track is perfectly centered and concentric, meaning perfect knock travel and consistent accuracy every time.
Okay.
When we made this cam though, we had to match it with a brand new system. We couldn't just slap it on something because it wasn't working together. So we have brand new limbs. We shortened the limbs up, stiffened them up, and we're able to share the stresses across the whole thing. We also match it with an extremely rigid riser, more eye-shaped for better holding and steadiness. And
Right, so there's a little less reflex in this riser than some of the bows past years. Okay.
Yep. And when we put this system together, we knew we'd have the most accurate system. What we didn't know is it'd be the most efficient. We're pushing 90% efficiency, which we've never seen on a bow.
So I mean, for your layman, guy who's saying, what does 90% efficiency get me? What's the real benefit of that?
Sure. So you're getting more out of what you're putting in. So when you draw your bow, you're storing energy into the system, and that's your potential energy, you call it. So when you shoot your arrow, and that is transferred into velocity, that's kinetic energy. The difference between those two numbers is your efficiency.
Okay.
So the higher your efficiency, the more you're getting out of what you're putting in.
Right, and likewise, I guess, the less of what you're feeling is the noise and the vibration of the bow. So the motor that's going into the arrow, the quieter and more shock-free the bow is.
Exactly. We only have 10% of the energy now going into the system.
Right.
And we're combating that with our harmonic stabilizers. We moved them up higher and closer to the limbs, and that gets rid of all the vibration through the riser, and almost nothing's getting to the hand.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I've been shooting my bow for, just about a month now. Actually, I got my HTR in, and I will tell you, flat out, it's probably the quietest bow I've ever shot, just out of the box.
That's what
Nothing
we're
on it. I mean, you got one monkey tail
Right.
on the string, and that's literally all you need on this bow, and it is dead quiet. Virtually no vibration at the shot.
You
The
don't
thing
need
doesn't
a stabilizer.
move. Yeah, so in doing the Q&A session with Matt last night, one thing that he tried to stress was accuracy, repeatability, and just creating the best overall bow that you can possibly buy. And I think you guys have hit a home run with this one.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited about it this year.
Awesome. So, as you guys can see here, the one I'm holding in my hand is a new camo pattern.
It is.
For this year.
Lost OT, we call it, open terrain.
Which I think just looks killer. I mean, if you guys are into this, some people are like, I don't know about the white, but I tell you what, man, I think it just looks awesome. I may be picking one of these up for myself. What other color patterns do we have available?
Our main color pattern this year is our Black Anthem. We're going back to our roots, black and gold, with this Black Anthem, and this is what I'm shooting right now.
Okay.
Of course, we have the Lost Camo regular bow, and then we also have a Stone Tactical. It's a gunmetal gray.
Yeah, it's
with
like a
some
gray.
black accents.
I've got that bow, that Stone Tactical, and that thing looks super sharp. So there you go, guys. This is the brand new for 2015, the no-cam string track technology from Matthews. This is the HTR. If you guys are interested in shooting one, definitely stop in at your local Matthews retailer and check one out today.
Well, that's all the bow hunting action we have for this episode of Bowhunt or Die. We'd like to take the time now to thank all the people who sent in their trophy photos. Justin, I have to admit, before we start going over the different people this week, it is interesting how they're getting smarter and they're actually telling us how to pronounce the name. So for those of you that did that is a huge help. You wouldn't believe how much time it saves us in the studio here. Jim Swanson.
Chris Dunn.
Danny Whitley.
Micah Ranke.
Drew Collins.
And Jake Rewa. Hey, thanks everybody for sending in those photos. Those are some great trophies. Now, as Todd said, that's the end of this week's episode. As we've mentioned before, we do have a couple great buck hunts coming up. In fact, one of the ones I think I'm most excited to see is actually Josh Fletcher up in Wisconsin doing some public land hunting.
Yeah.
We get a lot of requests for guys asking for public land. Josh showed us some tips a couple weeks ago and then actually was able to put a pretty nice buck down up there. So we're going to bring that hunt to you. But in the meantime, Todd, I guess we want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there, and we'll see you next week, right?
Yeah, next week we've got plenty of action ahead, so make sure you tune right here to Bowhunt or Die. In the meantime, don't forget to check out facebook.com/bowhunting for daily updates, news, photos, and other exciting information. We want to hear your opinions and your stories, so join us now and like us on Facebook. Joining Tom Alford. I know Tom has put a lot of miles driving out to different stand sites and definitely has put a lot of time in the tree this year, and he finally has some sex.
Does he?
Finally has some sex. Come on!